Look closely at the base of your kitchen faucet, the outer edges of your shower heads, and the water intake valves hidden behind your washing machine. If you live in a region with even moderately hard water, you have already seen the stark white, chalky crust bleeding out from the metal and slowly consuming your plumbing infrastructure. That solid white crust is calcium carbonate, and it is silently strangling the vital arteries of your house. You probably first noticed this insidious problem when your shower water pressure inexplicably dropped to a miserable trickle, or when your expensive household appliances began catastrophically failing years before their engineered lifespan expired. When this structural failure inevitably occurs, society has deeply conditioned you to execute one specific action. You make a phone call, and a local contractor arrives at your property. He shines a flashlight under your sink, shakes his head with practiced sympathy, and delivers a highly profitable verdict. He tells you that your pipes are calcified beyond repair, and that the only mathematically viable options are a massive, invasive repiping job that will tear open your drywall, or the immediate installation of a $2,000 whole house water softening system. You pay the exorbitant invoice because you genuinely believe you have absolutely no other choice. But you are being actively manipulated by an industry built entirely on calculated deception. If you have a calcified fixture, a dying appliance, or ruined plumbing sitting in your house right now, drop the word clogged in the comments below. We want to quantify exactly how many people are currently being actively drained by this fabricated crisis. The modern residential plumbing sector and the multi-billion-dollar water softener manufacturing cartel operate on a strict, unbreakable model of manufactured complexity and planned degradation. They rely entirely on your lack of chemical knowledge to extract maximum capital from your bank account. There is absolutely no structural necessity to replace pipes clogged by natural mineral scale, and there is absolutely no biological requirement to pump your daily drinking water through incredibly expensive synthetic resin tanks that demand endless maintenance. Plumbers and appliance manufacturers do not want your home infrastructure to remain clear and functional for decades. If your pipes never failed and your appliances never scaled over, their entire business model would collapse overnight. This is precisely why mainstream home maintenance guides and manufacturer manuals never discuss chemical reversal protocols. They exclusively preach mechanical replacement and preventative hardware subscriptions. When you purchase a whole house water softener, you are legally binding yourself to a mechanical dependency. You are signing an unspoken contract to indefinitely purchase heavy bags of refined sodium, effectively subsidizing a global supply chain that generates massive recurring revenue every single year. The National Plumbing and Heating Financial Review of 2023 openly tracks annual consumer expenditures on hard water appliance repair and softener salt, and the figures are absolutely staggering. Working-class homeowners are bleeding generational wealth to mitigate a natural mineral problem that industrial engineers fundamentally solved nearly a century ago. This is the part where the numbers become uncomfortable. You are continuously paying thousands of dollars to temporarily treat a minor symptom, while the elite industrial sector uses literal pennies to permanently eradicate the underlying disease. To fully comprehend the sheer magnitude of this corporate deception, we must look backward into the forgotten archives of American industry. In the early 20th century, the Industrial Revolution was powered by massive, high-pressure steam boilers. These gargantuan networks of iron and heavy copper pipes boiled millions of gallons of unpurified, naturally hard water every single day to power factories and sprawling electrical grids. If calcium carbonate had been allowed to accumulate inside those critical industrial pipes, the way it is currently allowed to accumulate under your residential bathroom sink, the commercial boilers would have rapidly overpressurized and catastrophically detonated within weeks. Yet, these massive steam networks operated flawlessly for decades without a single modern water softening machine attached to their intake valves. How did they achieve this seemingly impossible feat? They did not use expensive proprietary chemical blends, and they certainly did not tear out their heavy iron plumbing every 5 years to appease local contractors. We located the deeply buried, thoroughly declassified archival data from the Department of Industrial Engineering at the University of Chicago, specifically Archive 88B, which was published and circulated in 1932. This historical document outlines the exact mathematical descaling protocols for high-pressure steam boilers using naturally occurring organic acids. The industrial engineers of the 1930s knew exactly how to isolate a massive plumbing loop and introduce a very specific, naturally occurring acidic compound that molecularly targets and completely dissolves hard mineral scale without ever reacting with the base metals of the pipe infrastructure. They buried the science. We dig it up. If you made it this far, you already know significantly more about the dark reality of home maintenance than 99% of consumers on the market today. Subscribe and share this to protect this knowledge before the industry tries to quietly erase it from the public domain again. The truth is an active, daily threat to their massive quarterly earnings. Stay with me, because what I am about to show you completely dismantles the entire financial premise of the residential plumbing industry. The specific compound identified in those 1932 engineering archives is not a rare, highly controlled synthetic chemical requiring a government laboratory to synthesize. It is a highly concentrated, dry form of a naturally occurring organic acid. Specifically, it is industrial-grade, pure, anhydrous citric acid powder. When this incredibly cheap powder is dissolved in heated water and introduced into a closed plumbing system, it initiates a violent, highly targeted chemical process called chelation. In basic molecular terms, the natural acid directly attacks the crystalline structure of the calcium carbonate, rapidly breaking the dense mineral bonds that hold the solid scale together. The impenetrable white crust that completely clogs your pipes is chemically forced to dissolve into a harmless, highly soluble liquid state that can simply be flushed down the drain into the municipal sewer system. Because of its exact natural position on the potential of hydrogen scale, this specific organic acid completely lacks the corrosive properties required to etch, rust, or degrade copper, brass, stainless steel, or modern plastic plumbing. It is a targeted, surgical molecular strike on the mineral blockage. The Environmental Protection Agency Water Quality Guidelines from 1985 regarding mineral scaling prevention in municipal infrastructure openly acknowledge the supreme efficacy of these exact organic acids in maintaining massive public works and underground city water mains. The government explicitly uses it to keep the city running, but you will never see this exact method recommended by a local contractor sitting in your driveway. You cannot patent a basic natural acid, and what you cannot patent, you cannot build a billion-dollar industry on. But here is the part nobody tells you. You cannot simply pour raw powder down a cold drain and expect your water pressure to magically return. Most people do this wrong and ruin their plumbing by pouring weak commercial descalers into freezing cold pipes, achieving absolutely nothing while burning their money. Here is the only step that guarantees a permanent industrial-grade result. The absolute secret to permanent eradication is thermal activation combined with total system isolation. You must physically trap the heated acidic solution directly inside the heavily calcified section of your plumbing for an extended, uninterrupted period. To execute this archival protocol, you must first locate and completely shut off the main water supply valve to your entire house. Open the lowest faucet in your home usually located in a basement or a first-floor bathtub, to completely drain all the standing ambient water from the vertical interior lines. Now, you will prepare the active chelating solution. Heat exactly 1 gallon of tap water on your stove. The water must be brought to a highly elevated thermal temperature, hot enough to trigger the chemical catalyst, but safely below the degradation point of modern PVC plastics. Remove it from the heat source and slowly, carefully, stir in exactly 1 full cup of the pure anhydrous citric acid powder. The powder must be completely anhydrous, meaning it contains absolutely 0 water molecules in its crystalline structure, ensuring maximum chemical potency upon total dissolution. Stir the mixture continuously until the liquid becomes completely clear. If you are targeting the internal pipes feeding a specific bathroom that has lost all water pressure, you must introduce the heated solution directly into the enclosed plumbing loop. Use a wrench to remove the flexible under-sink supply lines and use a basic heat-resistant plastic funnel to pour the hot acidic solution directly downward into the copper or plastic wall pipes. Immediately after pouring, you must tightly cap or plug the open valves so the active fluid cannot escape back out. The heated solution must sit trapped inside the blocked, completely enclosed pipes for an absolute minimum of 4 hours, though heavy industrial protocols often strictly dictate letting the mixture sit entirely overnight for 12 to 16 full hours for cases of extreme calcification. The intense trapped heat acts as a powerful chemical catalyst, rapidly accelerating the breakdown of the dense calcium bonds, while the enclosed, pressurized physical space forces the liquid acid deep into every microscopic pore of the mineral blockage hidden deep inside your walls. Once the strictly mandated time has completely elapsed, simply reconnect your under-sink fixtures, turn the main structural water supply valve back on, and fully open the blocked taps. You will immediately witness a massive flood of murky, thick white, heavily sedimented water aggressively exit your plumbing. This disgusting fluid is the completely liquefied remains of the solid calcium carbonate that was slowly destroying your entire home infrastructure. Once the flowing water runs perfectly clear, your pipes are fundamentally restored to their exact original factory diameter, and your daily shower water pressure will violently and instantly return to its absolute maximum capacity. You have just successfully bypassed an entire parasitic industry. The elite residential plumbing cartel and the global water softener industry have spent hundreds of millions of dollars in highly targeted psychological marketing to convince you that your local tap water is fundamentally broken and must be fixed by constantly purchasing their heavy proprietary machines. They purposefully created an inescapable culture of mechanical dependency simply to hide a fundamental, undeniable truth of basic chemical engineering. They didn't hide it because it failed. They hid it because it worked too well. The immense power to permanently maintain your home has always belonged to you. Stop subsidizing the luxury vehicles of local contractors. Reclaim your infrastructure today.